what I'm doing is legal. This is why I believe I'll receive justice in the higher court.
Used to hit more to right center than the left. It is good! He did it! He did it!
It doesn't matter what your background is and where you come from. If you have dreams and you have goals, and that's all that really matters.
But there's only one Usain Bolt.
I owe, a lot to Charlie.
The freedom of expression that the entire world could see.
When you black, it's not a movement. It's a lifestyle. This is who we are.
Is it someone else's decision, or should it be someone else's decision to dictate to athletes what they should and should not wear? It's not your choice. It should be our choice. And for anyone who sees a problem with that, does not belong in sport. Because sport is a place that is supposed to be inclusive of everyone, no matter where you're from, your sexual orientation, your faith, your skin color, your gender. It doesn't matter.
At the Rio Games of 2016, Ibtihaj Muhammad became the first American athlete to compete in hijab at the Olympics. She wore it under her mask on the fencing strip. Then she displayed it proudly on the podium after helping the USA to a bronze medal in the women's team saber event. It was the first time a female Muslim American had won an Olympic medal.
I'm happy to have fulfilled a void on the U.S. team for a Muslim woman to be present on the team while wearing hijab, and I'm hoping to knock some misconceptions that people have about Muslims and also provide some source of inspiration for other minority athletes who may not see themselves in particular spaces.
Muhammad's upbringing was typical for African-American families in New Jersey. Her dad was a cop, her mom a teacher, and she attended public school. What set her on a different path was the family's decision to enroll her in a sport that could accommodate hijab. The answer turned out to be the unlikely pursuit of fencing. During high school, Muhammad joined the Peter Westbrook Foundation, a program that utilizes fencing as a vehicle to develop life skills in young people from minority communities. From there, she gained an academic scholarship to Duke University, where she became a three-time All-American and 2005 Junior Olympic champion. She also graduated with a double major in international relations and African American studies.
It's been a tremendous journey. Not that it's always been easy, but I feel, so blessed to have had such a strong group of people around me and help support me to this moment in my life. It means so much to me.
Muhammad qualified for the U.S. national team in 2010, and from 2011 to 2015, won a world championship medal, including gold in 2014.
We feel so blessed and so excited, and just can't believe it.
The next step was Rio and history. It was clear once she was selected that Ibtihaj Muhammad's presence on a U.S. Olympic team would bring plenty of attention. But not all of the attention directed Muhammad's way was positive. The 2016 Olympic year played out during a febrile presidential election campaign, one that exposed divisions in American society along racial lines.
When I hear this divisive rhetoric and these words of hate come from even some of the political candidates right now, it scares me a little bit because I don't want us to digress as a nation. I want us to move forward. And when you have these words of hate, they challenge the very constitutional, values that our country is built on.
Muhammad went quickly from a squad member of a low-participating sport to a prominent spokesperson for Muslim Americans at a challenging period in American history.
My faith is really important to me, and I realize that as a woman who observes the hijab, people do view me as a Muslim. I'm very aware of that. I not only want to represent myself well and represent my family well, I want to represent America well. I want to represent the Muslim community well.
Muhammad was determined to prove throughout that the color of her skin or her choice of headwear had no bearing on her will to win a medal for her country.
I want to change that, I just got goosebumps even thinking about that. I think that every single American athlete has dreams of hearing, our national anthem play and them being, atop the podium this summer. And for me, if that's in my cards, for me, it'll just be icing on the cake.
And while Muhammad didn't make it to the top of the podium, she made history by stepping onto the first step.
It is the most surreal experience, honestly. Never in a million years did I imagine I would be one of the lucky few to go home with an Olympic medal. And I just feel so proud and so happy to represent not just myself and my family, but my country, to represent Team USA.
On her return from the Olympics, Muhammad was a visible presence, articulate and telegenic. She was ideally placed to advocate for minority communities.
We need to encourage, diversity in the workplace. We need to encourage diversity, on the sports field, and we need to change, our thought process. I want children out there to believe that they are a part of this space, that they can be members of the Olympic team despite their skin color, despite their religion, despite their gender. If I can, with my story, inspire the youth out there to be involved in sports where they may be, they may be one of very few athletes who look like them, then I feel like I've done my job. I want people to be comfortable in spaces where they may not feel included.
Among the developments that followed in the wake of Muhammad's success was a Barbie featuring a doll in hijab.
I've had so many moments as an athlete where I didn't feel included, where I was often in spaces where there was a lack of representation. So to be in this moment as a U.S. Olympian, to have Mattel, such a global brand, diversify their toy line and include a Barbie doll that wears hijab is very moving to me, and I feel like it's very revolutionary.
Muhammad's pioneering work has inspired Muslim athletes the world over, including many in fencing.
The project was designed to help the girls increase their self-confidence, make it therefore more likely that they stay in education, they've got a better relationship with their teachers, and they have more self-confidence within themselves. So even if they never ever do fencing again, that experience will give them the self-confidence to try other sports.
Scores of Olympians in U.S. history have achieved extraordinary feats, amassing hauls of medals and world records that will stand the test of time. Ibtihaj Muhammad has one solitary bronze to her name, but its power cannot be underestimated.
I have to represent my community. I have to speak up for those without a voice. And I want to, be a source of inspiration. I want to, just use my platform to hopefully provide change. And if I can do that, I feel like I've done my job as an athlete.
Wilt Chamberlain was a larger-than-life NBA character in every way. And one of the first African-American superstars of basketball to change the way the game is played. His career spanned 14 years, from 1959 to 1973. And he still holds a number of NBA records in scoring and rebounding. He was north of 7 feet tall, a rarity at the time compared to the modern-day NBA tall timber, making him one of the most dominant offensive players to take to a court. And at 125 kilos, his strength was unmatched. With 9-time NBA champion head coach Red Auerbach describing Chamberlain as the most unbelievable physical specimen ever. Upon joining the NBA in 1959, he immediately became the league's biggest earner. And despite being a self-confessed introvert, he lived a life of excess, on and off the court. Million-dollar mansions, fast cars, movie stars, and hoop supremacy. Wilt Chamberlain will forever be remembered as one of basketball's most enigmatic figures. Chamberlain had many nicknames, but the ones that made reference to his size or height were generally shunned. Wilt the Stilt was one, Goliath was another. But there was a label Chamberlain was fond of, the Big Dipper. Some say it originated from boyhood friends at Philadelphia Overbrook High School. Others suggest the nickname stemmed from a summer job he took as a bellhop at a New York country hotel, where a young Wilt was forced to dip his head through the doorways, carrying luggage to the resort's many hotel rooms. Kutcher's Hotel and Country Club was a Jewish resort situated in the Catskill Mountains. It offered Chamberlain more than just $2 an hour plus tips. It also allowed Chamberlain to be front and center of his summertime basketball team, where it competed against several other New York country clubs situated in the area. Upon leaving Overbrook, Chamberlain had eclipsed the high school scoring record, scoring 2,252 points and averaging 37.4 points per game. Such was his talent, the NBA was already working at deciding his professional future. In the 1950s, the NBA had a rule that stated no player could join the NBA until 4 years after high school. That is, after their college class had graduated. They also had territorial picks, allowing teams to select players who had played college nearby. Instead, Philadelphia Warriors owner Eddie Gottlieb defied precedent after he was given permission by the NBA to use his territorial pick on Chamberlain 4 years earlier, and guided him to play college in Kansas in 1955, where no team had territorial rights. After playing 3 years for Kansas University, including an impressive 52.31 rebound debut, he wanted to be paid and spent a year with the Harlem Globetrotters in 1958 until the NBA came calling, where finally the Philadelphia Warriors had their man. Chamberlain's impact on the NBA was immediate. On his 1959 rookie contract with the Philadelphia Warriors, Chamberlain immediately became the NBA's best paid player, and he wasted no time living up to the billing. In his first game, the Big Dipper scored 43 points, pulled down 28 rebounds in a win over the New York Knicks. It set a standard he was more than capable of emulating. He averaged 37.6 points and 27 rebounds at the end of his debut season and became the only man to win Rookie of the Year and MVP honors in the same year. And in his third season, he became the only player to score 100 points in a game and averaged 50.4 points and 25.7 rebounds for the campaign. They are the kind of gaudy numbers that surely will never be matched. Although when it came to rebounds, Boston Celtics nemesis and friend Bill Russell came close. The pair are cited as having the first great NBA on-court rivalries, with Russell's Celtics winning 7 of 8 playoff series against Chamberlain's Warriors, 76ers, and Lakers teams. Although Russell never considered it to be a rivalry.
Wilt and I were never rivals. We were competitors, said Russell. In a rivalry, one is a winner and the other vanquished. Neither of us were ever vanquished.
It was literally and figuratively 2 giants going head-to-head and wowing fans in the process. But when it comes to championships, Russell has the upper hand, winning 11 rings to 2. These were 2 of the best centers to ever take to a court. But there are others that also gave Wilt the stilt headaches on game day. The New York Knicks' Willis Reed was a gritty 6'9" future Hall of Famer and missed the 1972 season through injury, leaving Chamberlain with his second championship and his first Finals MVP with the LA Lakers. But when Reed returned the following year, he was hell-bent on denying the Big Dipper a second straight NBA title.
I feel as though there's only a team that can beat you. Willis Reed is a great competitor, a very great basketball player, whether he's playing center or forward. I'm not sure how they will employ him. I'm just hoping that we can beat the Knicks, and it's no one man against man, because it just doesn't count in the end. You know, I'm just hoping that we can score more points than they can in the end.
Despite Chamberlain scoring 21 points and 23 rebounds in the 5th and final game, the Knicks defeated the Lakers 3-2. It would be the final time the Big Dipper would take to an NBA court. The days of being double-teamed were over. So too was being the target of foul tactics. And so were the rule changes designed to rein Wilt in. During his 14 years with the Philadelphia and San Francisco Warriors, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the LA Lakers, he was a 2-time NBA champion and a 4-time MVP, and is still a revered figure among today's NBA stars.
The association with a legend like Wilt Chamberlain, that does something for me, because I'm a guy who grew up, you know, reading about the game, studying the game, studying the players, the post press, past and present, you know. So I wanted to see who was dominant in their era, or who laid the groundwork for young kids like myself who started to play the game when I was 9 years old. And Wilt obviously was a big staple of that.
His achievements were enough to earn him cult hero status, but his off-court escapades added to his legend. The Big Dipper's success turned him into arguably the first superstar of the NBA.
The son of an NBA basketballer with a ferocious work ethic and inherent love of the game, Kobe Bryant became a great of American sport. He played 20 seasons with the LA Lakers, winning 5 NBA championships, the 2008 MVP, 2 Finals MVPs, and was 18 times an All-Star. The self-proclaimed Black Mamba won 2 Olympic gold medals in 2008 and 2012, and in retirement even won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film with his tribute to the game, Dear Basketball. Bryant, daughter Gianna, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in January 2020, the world mourning one of the greatest of all time.
College and professional hoop scouts are hot on his trail.
In shrugging off the shy tendencies he had as an oversized teen, Wilt Chamberlain developed a reputation for having a bloated ego. He was a womanizer. Even one stated he had had sexual relations with 20,000 women. Chamberlain also had a passion for cars and was known to often drive coast to coast alone, clocking speeds over 170 miles per hour. Off the court, Chamberlain's interests were wide-ranging, but unlike other high-profile black athletes of the time, like Bill Russell or Muhammad Ali, activism towards the social injustice facing black Americans during the 60s was one he rarely addressed. But in 1968, the death of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. changed all of it. Wilt Chamberlain now wanted to help America, and in particular his black community. The art of persuasion was another thing Wilt Chamberlain was good at. In fact, he was so good, he persuaded black leaders to allow Republican politician Richard Nixon to enter Martin Luther King's funeral in Atlanta. Chamberlain had become an integral piece of Nixon's 1968 Republican election campaign. And while most of the black community considered Nixon a racist, he was able to convince them otherwise through publicity events, speeches, and interviews. In Chamberlain, Nixon saw an African-American icon who could help the Republican Party finally win over the votes of black people. While in Nixon, Chamberlain naively saw someone he thought would work earnestly for the quality of black people. The pair hit the campaign trail, but it proved to be a daunting experience for Chamberlain, as he and the black community became enraged with the condescending racial rhetoric coming from the Republican candidates. Nixon went on to win the 1968 presidential election with very little of the black vote. Chamberlain was labeled a racial sellout and out of touch with the black freedom struggle. But in true Wilt style, he casually removed himself from the ordeal and went on to dazzle basketball audiences for 5 more years. Chamberlain retired at the conclusion of the 1973 NBA season and went on to receive NBA Hall of Fame honors in 1978. He was also chosen as one of the league's 50 greatest players in history in 1996, 3 years before his passing at 63 due to congestive heart failure. Wilt Chamberlain may have discovered politics as a dirty game, but when the Big Dipper took to the court, the game of basketball was beautiful to watch.